Welcome to the Royal Report, Miss Mrs. I'm sorry, Jory Thibodeau from the Jory Box, and we're going to allow you to tell us a little bit more about that. But I wanted to welcome you to the Royal Report, which is our show that we do every Friday, 6 p.m. through Queen Anna House of Fashion, and we obviously you're a client, a friend, and my pastor as well. Can't forget that. That's actually probably the first part of it, right? And then all of the other things underneath.
They
But
did. What's
realistic,
beautiful is we were friends first.
yes,
Yes.
for sure. For sure. But I think that for me, one of the things that's important for us for me as the owner of Queen Anna is not only to offer amazing, unique items to women and empower them to wear them in whatever space that they are, but then to also be a resource from all things women. And this month we focused a lot on breast cancer awareness, as well as highlighting our clients that have a story and a journey through breast cancer, and you happen to be one. And so I just want to open up that floor for you to tell us a little bit about your journey, as well as who you are, what you do, in the Jory box. And that's one of those things, a box can be endless. Just all these beautiful and wonderful things can come out of it. So I want to just introduce you to our following, as well as introduce ourselves to your following as well. But yeah, tell us a little bit about all things in the Jory box.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me.
Of course.
Um, I absolutely love everything about you and Queen Anna,
Yeah.
House of Fashion. And it's I always say when I need something, before I learned that aspect of you, I already like to shop. And there was something that I needed to, or someone I needed help getting me out of my comfort zone, and not purchasing something that I would just normally get anytime. This is the place that I went to, and I absolutely, and every time I come out of there,
Yeah.
or just experience you like, oh, why do you have that on? Or maybe put that, just like, aha. Yes, so needed in my life. So thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
One of the things I think that I'm so honored about today is you were actually very involved in that journey with me.
Mhm.
And for any woman going through breast cancer or any type of illness, I just think it's so important to have the right circle of people around you, who
Mhm.
are going to stand with you, who are going to encourage you when you need encouraging, who are going to be in agreement with you, that will do research for you,
Mhm.
all of those things. And you were one of those breast friends for
Yes.
me going through my journey. And so I'm grateful for this time together, and so always grateful for you in my life,
Oh, thank
specifically
you.
during that time. So I am 4 years cancer free,
So amazing.
and thrilled about it. My journey with breast cancer is a little different. My mom, who is 81 years old, was actually an overcomer as well. I was 8 months old when she got diagnosed.
Mm,
And for us being so young, can you imagine being a mom having
yeah.
an 8-month-old diagnosed with breast cancer, the same side
Mhm.
as mine? She had a mastectomy, as so did I.
Mhm.
And my sister, I have a sister, and so we were always frequently getting checked. We started getting checked early
Mhm.
because of her history. And so around this time frame, 4 years ago, I literally went in to give someone a hug, and when I hugged them, I felt the pain.
Mm.
And I am a big hugger. I'm a very
Mhm.
touchy person. And so I knew that that was off, and it literally pushed me back to say, wow, something does not feel right here. And
Mhm.
so obviously I got in to see, my breast team,
Mhm.
and their diagnosis after having done an MRI, having done a mammogram, everything came back negative. So
Mm.
it was a negative report, and they suggested that perhaps I was premenopausal. And so they asked to keep an eye out on that. And I think it's so important when you are, it's important to know your body,
Absolutely.
right? It's important to know your body. It's important to also listen to your faith and listen to the direction that you get, because when we are listening to our body, then we can help navigate and advocate, really,
Right.
for ourselves and for our own bodies. And so over those next 3 months, I literally was, checking every time. And sometimes it'd be painful, sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes I could feel a lump. Sometimes the lump wouldn't be there until 3 months later, I woke up to blood on my sheets.
Mm.
And so obviously that was an indicator to get right back in there. And I went in for my testing again, mammogram, ultrasound. You put two charts up on the screen. The first screen from 3 months ago was negative, and the second screening was full of breast cancer.
Mm.
So, having that experience was really challenging
Yeah.
because 3 months earlier, you see a report that indicates absolutely nothing. And 3 months later, you see that the entire breast, just about the entire breast, was full of cancer on the screen.
Mhm.
And so we had to go through additional testing, which is always key and just a very quick process. And then in meeting with our oncologists, they wanted to put a port in right away so that we can begin. The recommendation was radiation, chemo, remove the breast, chemo, radiation again, which for a person like me who barely consumes Tylenol, that was sounding really overwhelming and
Yeah.
was sounding very aggressive. But because of the nature of the aggressiveness that this cancer was forming in my body, they wanted to provide that treatment. And so, I always like to particularly share this story because I did not pursue that route. I did
Mm.
not go chemo nor radiation. I went a natural alternative route, lots of prayer. And
Mhm.
that we are faith people, full of
Mhm.
faith. And I was very clear that, the Lord spoke to me and said, no chemo.
Mm.
And that was just a really crucial part for us because at the same time that we're hearing this diagnosis that you may not be hearing for years, or, this thing is running so aggressively, we really need to do this part. I had to really balance out what was going to be the right route for me.
Absolutely.
Right. As is with anything in your life. But one thing that I was sure of is it was my faith.
Yeah.
And I had to follow that. And so we went into surgery. We had the mastectomy, and we experienced a full blown, what we were expecting, the miracle,
Yeah.
right? Which was when they removed that breast, they were only able to find 3 little dots of cancer.
Right.
And I just can't share how grateful I am for that because we were, firm footed in our faith.
Yeah.
We did change some things in my lifestyle, from the way I was eating. Juicing was a huge part of that journey, incorporating herbs and lots of research to figure out what was going to be best for my body,
Exactly.
and the route that I wanted to take. And so one of the things that happened in that MRI screening was they, assessed and saw that perhaps the cancer had started to spread through to my lymph nodes.
Mm.
But on that surgery table, that doctor pulled out 6 lymph nodes. And as he was pulling, they were biopsying right on the spot and found no cancer.
Awesome.
And so after the 6th one, he's like, we're done. We're not taking out another lymph node. But sure enough, like within that day, he called my husband and said, I'm trying to reach Dory. Her voicemail is full. That happens,
Yep.
right? But he said, our God is still in the miracle working business. He said, and shared the story of what they actually found after that. And he was a believer, which I was grateful for because it just made the story even more sweet. And he was in agreement with us.
Absolutely. And I think that again, everything, regardless if it's breast cancer or not, the struggles and the issues of life, once you go through it, get your testimony, your test then becomes a testimony for the next person that needs to hear what it is that you went through that they may be going through so that they know that they too can be an overcomer. And I think that for me, as a business owner and all the things and the challenges that we've gone through, not even just this year, but just as, in life, as women, as business owners, as mothers, wives, partners, whatever the concept may be, we have to be able to have a platform to share our story.
Absolutely.
So other people can hear. And that's realistically what we're doing here. That's what we're trying to accomplish with, partnering with you and other clients to tell their story, because everybody's story is so different and is going to resonate so differently with the next person.
Yes, yes. And if we don't tell our stories, I feel like, for those of us that are survivors and overcomers in any area, like whether it's the business field, whether it's breast cancer, whether it's Crohn's disease, if we don't tell our story, then we've just kept this goodness all to ourselves.
Right?
but our story is really meant to build history,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
His story, her story,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's really meant to build that. But when we're not sharing them, people need hope these days,
Right. Yes.
right? People need
Yes.
some good news that, yes, you can still have victory in your journey,
Mhm.
still overcome breast cancer. I think one of the things that I'm so passionate about, and Nicole, I can't tell you that, breast cancer, people say it's hereditary. I had my testing, my gene testing, not so. Even though my mom did have it, same breast, 47 years, 43 years prior to.
Mhm.
Your eating. I was a decent eater. I did have to make some changes. Environment. Okay, well, we know the environment has some opportunity,
Right.
but stress was
Yeah.
the other factor that was in there. And when I took a step back, like after this journey, and really thought about the amount of stress that I was under,
Yeah.
right, because of our, the entrepreneurial lifestyle that we both share, that passion, that spirit around that. And, we have children, we have husbands, we have parents, we have grandparents, we have
Mhm.
all these responsibilities. But I really sat back and thought, like, that was a lot of stress
Right.
that I was, living in. And, to this day, just being very careful about setting up boundaries to make
Now
sure
that's
that
everything.
everything,
Yeah, those their boundaries. I'm still working. Pray
yeah,
for me. Okay.
work in progress. We're all that way,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Really being intentional about saying no to stress, but then recognizing stress. I think that's a key thing too, is like, you got to recognize, am I stressed out? And for me, you see this cute little mark here.
Huh. Yep.
That mark is a
A
hello.
reminder.
It is
Yes.
a reminder.
No, but it's I know when I get it and it's bad because Greg will say, and he never really is like, it doesn't bother him, but he'll say, "Ooh, what happened to your face?" I'm like,
Okay.
"Oh, is it like that?" And he was like, the last time your face," because again, just like you said, our body talks to us.
Yes.
It talks to us. Now, if we listen, that's a whole nother situation. But I remember when I first opened the store, there was a period, almost 6 months, where I opened my store and I worked open to close 7 days a week for 6 months. And one day I was washing my hair and I pulled it back in a ponytail and I went to bed like normal. And then the next day I woke up and I was combing, and literally, if I had the photo, the spot that you could see I could see my scalp,
Right.
and it was literally in my brush, and my face was I call it a big bump, one big bump. And I went to the doctor because I didn't know what was wrong. I thought I had cancer. I was like,
What's happening?
my body, because I've never experienced that. And I literally was like, my hair fell out. And it wasn't like a break off. No, no, no.
It was a
It it was a clump. And I could see my scalp. And it
wow.
was no hair there. If I can find the photo, I'm gonna actually put it in our video so that I can show you. When you say stress,
Yes.
it was stress induced alopecia. And I was already going to the doctor for acne, but it was stress induced acne. So really, the changes had to come from within.
Right.
And so I remember Greg was like, I love Queen Anna. I really do. But I love you more. And what won't happen is your hair falling out and you breaking out. What's next? What is your body going to do next? And I don't know what stress feels like. So I can't tell you when I'm stressed, because my makeup is, there's a situation, something that needs to be done. It will get done.
Yeah. It'll
But
get done.
it'll get done. But
Yeah.
that my body will have hit a wall, and my brain and my heart will keep going. And so when you mention boundaries and making those intentional, thoughtful, choices, I fall victim to, like, I got to get better in
Yes.
that space, right? And then the diet, exercise,
Huge. Huge.
exercise, And all of those things as women, I think sometimes we put on the back burner because we put everybody else first.
First, yeah.
And I remember seeing in, I believe I read it in Michelle Obama's book, where it's okay to put you on the top of the to-do list, right? And I have to remind myself that often. And I think that even this conversation right now in this moment is a very real reminder to, whoa, take a step back, self-care, because even with you and saying that, you had done all of your testing and you were still doing all of the things that you thought you weren't doing, you weren't too far off.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, when you did a real self-assessment and a, deep dive on, okay, where does that really fall? You found it right where you could have kind of been mindful about it beforehand, but not until you went through your journey.
Right. And after, I mean, so many things came out of the journey, right? Which is why it's a journey.
Man.
Right? So
and that's the reason why you go through it, and not to just go through the journey, but to experience and learn from the journey.
Not just go through, but really grow through.
That's a good one, for sure.
Go through it and you become a better person for yourself, a better person for others, a better person for your family, your business, all of the things that, the Lord trusts us with.
All of the things.
Better at when we do that. And if you think about it, when you get on the airplane, they tell you what?
Put yours on first.
Mask on first. And sometimes as women, we forget to do that, but just giving ourselves permission to do that every day, in whatever capacity that is, but every single day, giving ourselves permission to put our mask on first, so then we can help others more efficiently and more effectively. For me, that breast cancer, the reason that that first result came up negative is because the cancer was hiding in my milk ducts.
Oh.
Yes. And so I was angry about that. One, because I was like, those cancer cells are so deceptive, right? That's what happens, and why sometimes they sit in the body and lurk around is because they're deceptive.
Right.
And I was thinking the very thing that, we use to nurture our children with, here this deceptive cancer cell is sitting there and growing,
right,
and hiding from a test, right? But that's the same thing stress does.
Yeah.
Right? Until we detect it.
Yep.
And we can't deal with it.
Exactly.
It's the exact same thing. And so like that juicing was really important for me. And it's still a very important part of my daily time. Like, I have some clients that I juice for, and coaching people with juicing too. But that time when I'm juicing for them is my time, whether I've got the right music on, whether I've got the word playing, whether I'm listening to positive affirmations, but that is my time right there, that hour in the morning where I'm getting fed internally, and then I'm preparing juice for someone else. So then I get to get fed myself and then still be a gift and a blessing to somebody else.
Absolutely. And you're letting it flow through you. And that's how it continues to come and continue to bless others. And that's so good. And I think that for us to here at Queen Anna, that's one of the things that's really important, is that we're always empowering women, that no matter where you are in your space, to recognize that you deserve to be there. Take up all the space that you have been blessed with. Don't shrink back. And when you come out and you step out, you can step out in your Queen Anna clothes. And you can look good while you do your thing. And so one of the things that we've always been saying, and especially now in the pandemic, what I've recognized with clients, as well as myself, only for a brief moment though, was that when we first started the pandemic, everybody wanted to always wear, your yoga pants and your sweatshirts, and you can wear your pajama pants with your jacket if you want to, but recognizing that when you look good, you feel good. You look good, feel good. And for us, that's our goal, for us to help you feel good and look good through fashion so that you can go out and do good. And so I think that with you being a client, you can definitely attest to that. But I know I don't even need to ask you what one of your favorite pieces are from the store, because I can tell you my favorite piece that you have that I did not get, that is like, I can run it down, that suede brown trench coat with the silver buckle belt and the oh.
The collar does it for me. I mean, first of all, I am a coat, like we said, you got to know you, right? Some people like shoes, some people like purses. Now, I like all of those things,
Right.
but I love a good coat.
Man, and you live in Minnesota, so it's perfect.
Exactly. I have 3 jackets from Queen Anna. I have the silver leather.
Yep, Bono y me.
Yes, I have the black leather, the quarter length.
Yep, Bono y me. Yep, and then the Avec les Filets.
And that brown, my dog confirmed me. It's the same color as my dog.
Right. It is both very great. I think that those 3 things, though, honestly, are some of my favorites too. I have every one except for the brown jacket, and I cannot find that jacket anywhere. So it's a yummy, yummy jacket. It's one of those that I'm like, man, Nicole, you own the joint. Like, you have to, how did you not get the jacket?
Right. I dare say that, we are the same size, so I may have snagged that one.
Yeah.
I'm apologizing for it though. Because that jacket is, why else that jacket is really special is because that particular night, I think if anyone knows you, they know that you are a philanthropist at heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that night you were doing a project for Oasis, Agape Oasis.
Yes.
The 24-hour childcare and the crisis intervention center that the nonprofits that we run and own as well. And you were doing an event that night for our organization. And lo and behold, I saw that jacket and I had to have it. I had to have that coat, that jacket. I love that trench coat. Yes.
That's probably one of my faves too. But yes, I do remember that now that you bring it up. I do. And that's one of the things that I think that I miss the most about not being able to host events in the store. But just like this, we pivot, we move, we learn, we experience different things, and we get to share more of our story, who we are in this space digitally, with people who may not even be able to have maybe come to that event or any other event in the store. So for people who do want to get a chance to know more about the things that you do and the things and the nonprofits that you are part of, where can they reach out to you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so the most prominent place right now is on social media at Jory Thibodeau. Okay. Right, and the Jory Box, website will be coming soon, but Jory Thibodeau on any social media platform is the place to connect with me. And there you'll find information about all the wonderful things that I have stirring up in my box. And when you open up the Jory Box, there are lots of jewels that coming out of that. But from, co-pastoring our church with my amazing husband to running our 2 nonprofits, which is Agape, our 24-hour childcare center, and Oasis of Love, our crisis intervention center, of which happens to be domestic violence awareness happening right now as well. But there we've got learning pods, we've got virtual learning pods taking place for children that need support during this pandemic, who aren't able to have conducive environments at home to learn from. They're coming to our learning pods and we're providing support to them. I also have a dance studio called The Dance People. And so, we'll be including not only live classes, but also virtual classes available for those that are interested in taking movement. It also has a wellness and fashion component, really talking about clothes that you can wear from the studio out into the street or back into your home, right? Changing from the living room to the dining room.
Yes.
As well. And then last but not least is Juicing with Jory, which is my newest initiative that you can connect directly with me on Instagram with Juicing with Jory as well. So lots of tips around juicing, recipes. We'll have some challenges coming up if you're interested in learning more about juicing. That was just a huge part for me in my journey of health and overcoming breast cancer.
Awesome. And that's always so good to hear, to have a resource and an outlet. So obviously, like I said, that's one of the things that we're positioning ourselves as a resource, not only through fashion, but then empowerment and encouragement in any other level of womanhood.
Yeah.
And then also partnering with other people who have resources. So it's a resource who has a resource, who then has a resource, who has a resource, and you then have endless resources. And so
Exactly.
that is the kind of,
Exactly.
that is the type of environment and a thing that we're being conducive of, especially right now when people do need so many resources. So we will be sure to make sure that we include those the links to all of the places that you just mentioned in the bio. And so anybody that's interested in just getting more information or whatever it may be, or just, you know, giving you a high five on your journey and saying me too, like whatever that concept may be, they'll be able to get it right from the link. And then any other information that they might have, we can funnel it right through to you.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you for being a breast friend, one.
Of course.
And thank you for doing awareness around breast cancer.
Absolutely. Anything I can do to make sure that women are feeling empowered and inspired to be their best them and live their best life now,
That's
right?
That's right. Every day.
Every day.
Every day, all day.
Absolutely. That's one thing I can say. If this year specifically for the world hasn't been an eye opener that you must do that. You must live your best life now on a daily basis. Like YOLO is a real thing.
It's a real thing. What are we waiting on? What are we waiting on?
Exactly. So and that's why I was saying the resource who has a resource who has a resource, because then there's no excuse.
None. No excuse. So we win the battle in our minds and we fill our hearts with the right things too, right?
Absolutely. And then surround yourself with the right people. So I appreciate you for being a part of our circle and being a part of my personal circle and being able to always, and whenever I need to be talked off a cliff, you are like one of maybe 2 or 3 that I can call and know that can help me out in that very moment. Because, you know, that's real life. It happens occasionally.
It's real. And if you don't have that circle, you got to have an inner circle, right?
Oh man, if you don't have an inner circle, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I mean, we can find somebody, we can help. Let us help find you, get you a resource who has a resource.
You with someone, right?
I'm so grateful and blessed to have that with you. So I am honored to be able to tell your story, share your story, and have you share your story with our people, our circle. And then I know so much is coming from this. So
yes.
Thank you so much for being a part of the Royal Report and for all of you that were listening. Until next time, bye-bye.